You saw me in the crowd, they were calling last call. I was lost in the noise of mine. But you opened my eyes, shared the story of hope, began that night. Without a clue of what's coming next, was I guided by hands I couldn't see? Was it written somewhere, part of a plan? I had these thoughts in my head. Can you make it make sense? How a heart can burn with joy, then suddenly feel cold. Still I trust there's more to know. Feels like my head's underwater, but you're there at the surface, lifting me through the doubt. Can you make it make sense? How a heart can heal again when the fire never ends. Do you remember that night, you and me in the dark? The rain was pouring outside. Days turned into months, but I felt your hand. I knew I would be alright, without a clue of what's coming next. But you're still leading with each and every step. Is it written somewhere, a part of your plan? I have these thoughts in my head. Can you make it make sense? How a heart can burn with joy, then suddenly feel cold. Still I trust there's more to know. う